Hello, Fox Connecticut News, WFSB, and WTNH are three Connecticut news locations, and they have been refusing to fix fake news they put as collusions with courts switching and forging names, and with the same house/s tied to them. People from Mexico, people from Canada, involved with them with all criminal enterprises, private ones, and campuses, intercities, even ones they didn't go to. Central Connecticut State University has former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and his co-defendants involved with a whole bunch of people who put fake things in databases with names like DiMauro and people tied to a Ray Collo, like a Jamie Caron is involved with a Ray Collo and his educators putting predicate acts in databases, collusion/S's, wrongdoers, or whatever. In other words, they were refusing to identify themselves legitimately into branch since I was a kid so they could stick more fake things in databases as cover ups, collusions with all natures of crime scenes. Even when the people actually do the things, they change and fake what's done or what was done. They've been stacking predicate acts with facts in databases since before our founders were born. It is also relative to where and to how they make subject treatments, leaving out, in other words, it's not even debatable if you pay attention to things that they're pretending are debatable, like how the cities, the suburbs were designed before America's founders were even born. Many ways. Tactically denatured to cause negative value nature, progressions, acts of nature is a part of that torture, extortion, slavery method. People debate that and get away with it because the books are criminally foreign influenced. Tactically delusion draw. Our founders didn't have free speech. How could they have free speech when slavery was entrenched? Against everyone sickly distinctly, too. You guys aren't paying attention what our founders told us to pay attention to. You guys are giving the value to voting when it doesn't have value. I never voted in my life. The closest I ever came, I almost voted for Barack Obama. I went down to the voting station, and notice it's recorded. The voting station locations in Wethersfield are places that have been used criminally for and influenced. Retired police chiefs from Wethersfield have roles with their families and intimate ties with 80 Carriage Hill Drive, involved with the name Cololo, brought up by Wethersfield police confessions over the phone and in person, but they're not putting the whole name. I just know that's one place. It's also a Phil Cololo. I don't even know where he lives. A Phil Cololo is increasingly involved with them too, with whiting forensics and state police families interstates. A whole bunch of people tied to Ray Cololo involved with people from Ukraine and from Russia too, and from Canada and from Mexico, with all kinds of criminal enterprises and their teachers putting fake things in databases with them, and other people at other campuses. They have the leaders of kids. They have more with the principal upskirt nature. I caught first, and they hid what I caught, which is worse than just that. In other words, I didn't even know about that, but I know they have other digital crimes with the kids. They have also sexual and medical crimes with the therapists. FBI talks about therapy doctors. They have collusions with them. To an extent, they know that's at least plausible. They've been fabricating conversations once with the name. A whole bunch of people tied to a Leahy family. More than one people with the name Brendan Leahy. And other men and women in their family have roles with the triage at Hartford Hospital, the mental health care side, and the lawyer and security side, who have collusions with them. They're putting fake things in databases, whole fake transcripts, forging names of doctors, putting whole fake transcripts roles. Increasingly, people with a Sullivan woman. Looks just like that Sullivan woman in the news reports of a kid reported in her house, reportedly having been started a fire to free himself from captivity for 20 years, etc. That woman, I believe that's the same exact woman tied to a Daryl Sullivan with Lena's Pizza on Park Street. He's involved planting evidences with foreign and domestic intelligence, and a whole bunch of people tied to former director of the FBI and his lawyer, Robert Chevrolet, and his co-defendants. Their lawyer, too, is a Robert Chevrolet. Thaddeus Grabowski and former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin. He'd been warned by a Judge Nations or a Judge Winters not to go to that part of the case without a lawyer. Like in 2006, he was a co-defendant in a district court case in Connecticut. Robert Luskin, his co-defendants, and names on both sides of that case and the court's names have roles of predicate acts against me next to Fox Connecticut News before they put the fake things about me too with FSB attached me to whole fake conversations with them in the news and in databases too. These are predicate acts. They did that to force a principal child abuser. That's recorded too. They're pretending not to realize. They're being coached by the court's family members involved with it, and foreign countries with those same ones. Other countries in the news. They have these serious subjects about wars and things with Ukraine, Russia, Canada, Mexico. They're all with the same house/yes next to me, involved with them intercities, planting evidences. Wethersfield police will confess this. The same ones denying it now. That's why you have to get them on paper, follow mandated law. I've been begging Judge Napolitano. They won't. They use wire and mail crime methods. They put fake transcripts of phones. No one's looking. No one's looking. That's why you don't follow mandated law. I've been reporting this here. Get me a response. You guys are lying in backgrounds, valuing it, faking databases. Mandated law says, oh, we don't have it. In other words, I'm not going to call you guys, put fake transcripts. I'm not going to go down to the police station. They fake conversations with me there. That weren't at all when I was a kid and then as an adult. There's ones with the name Mendez Police. There's a whole bunch of police forms and overt criminal enterprises and private ones. A whole bunch of names that are timed on campuses. And he says, you know what the federal, the foreign and domestic do? They time where people are going to walk by. They make a statement and make it look like people had, which is also in the form of a confession. And they make it look like people had conversations or knew each other. Then years later, you have to mention that, and it sounds like you know them. They're sticking predicate acts in databases. They have all the elections, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions. I wouldn't have voted in an election spot in Wethersfield. It's like collusion. It's like you're pretending you don't realize about the other stuff. Their thing is obligated by the law to tell on the stuff going on there, but they're changing fake what we say. They have the audacity to have, you should see the subject treatments where there's, we're going to speak about building a school, or if we're going to do that, we're going to get down. They had mold in the school for how long? They could have cleaned it up like that and built an addition. And we could do things better than free. They're charging us so much money for it. Oh, but that's because they only give us the money if we go this way. Get down. They won't even legitimately identify themselves legitimately. The state of Connecticut corrections offices and the judicial branch offices are involved with a whole bunch of corruption with Wethersfield into branch families and a whole bunch of foreign ones and overt criminal enterprises, private ones at the same time, clearer than day. Private ones like Hartford Hospital's Institute of Living. They have intelligence with a Leahy family that put fake ties to me. I never had a conversation with them in my life. They forging other doctors' names roles, putting fake conversation like a Dr. Shamsi Ali. He confessed over the phone to me. I said, I didn't communicate with you. He said, oh, I know. He said he's no longer with them. They just forged his name, apparently. In other words, so I've been begging for someone to give me a response since before the World Trade Center attack. I did speak with one doctor really quick. And then he made all these confessions about his family and things like that. And I didn't even have time, And then he begged me to take free prescription medications. Then someone else took it. In other words, I don't even know. In other words, those are the people involved with the Rocky Hill police, too, and fire departments. Russians and Americans, too. They have roles with fire departments and running into Hartford Hospital high live progression with the ones who are Russian, formerly with them, too. See, Russians in Ukraine and Americans, they have roles with psychiatry, tactically delusions wrought, criminally foreign influence, and they're with databases no one's looking into. They're with differences, racketeering. Everyone's looking around. We have black people's whites of eyes. We have the same color eyes, different color eyes at the same exact time, projected to us by the identity that is true always. It shows us that there are other species bodies with two eyes. And we didn't invent that, and they didn't invent it. It is showing us there's an identity of value/value progression that we could learn from. It gives us answers. But you guys are replacing those answers. You guys are fabricating things. Then you want to go. Then you want the legitimacy to your question. To legitimize your questions. You guys are using your questions for cover-ups. You guys can't afford the answers proper and on time. So please, there's a judge in Napolitano's judging freedom. He's got sources from all these different countries involved here with organized crimes here. I've been asking him for response for the interbranch switching and forging names. These are people out of the state judicial branch offices again, out of the state corrections offices in Wethersfield, Connecticut, which are on town lines, and the people next to them. There are people next to those locations through time who are involved with predicate acts on my street, different part of town, with the same house /S, with their educators involved with them with predicate acts. It's recorded, and they know that would surface if anyone responded to me legitimately. Before the World Trade Center attack in Manhattan, Connecticut had roles with the interstates. People from Washington, D.C., too, involved with two speech class teachers I had, with the ones involved with the World Trade Center attack. Increasingly, people recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed their conversations with Dan Keene and his mother and family. They're involved with an O'Brien family and with others through time involved with predicate acts with the people from the other countries involved, like Russians, Ukraine. They're involved with differences, racketeering, worse than war crimes. They walk by you, then pretend they know you. In other words, they can't get on paper. These aren't people, in other words, get them on paper, one name and sequence. Let's go. And they've been attaching me to fake conversations with everyone around me about this stuff, too. They're trying to make me have conversations with everyone. No one was going to have the conversations with me because it's going to bring out people around them. That's what they do. They force groupthink. No. Remember groupthink? I heard through CNN, MSNBC, or Fox News that groupthink was one of the things they said was involved with the World Trade Center attack. Clearer than day, that's true. But that's true because the crime methods recorded involved with the interbranch and foreign at the same time. Prepare your mind. So please, Judge Napolitano, FBI, fear God to hide and plot. I'll rap a lot. Get them the fuck on paper. Excuse my language, please. Do what's right.